Hey friends, right off the rip, thanks for being here. It's after midnight on the 4th of June. You might be wondering, why are you doing this? Because I don't know if you could tell, but it's like 12:30 at night. Just got back from work. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to talk to you about what happened when I was at work. We just got back from Florida a few days ago, and need to give a little bit of background intentionally. Normally and historically, I'm an indoor guy. If you can't tell by looking at me, I'm an indoor guy. I've been an indoor guy my entire life. I do go outdoors. I just, what can I say? I like TV. I like video games. It's problematic. And then on top of that, I'm an emotional eater, stress eater. So that's why it is like it is. But for whatever reason, this year I've gotten into permaculture. Not, and that's not anything that I was planning to do. As I sit here right now, I have a gummy berry in the ground. I have a black raspberry, I believe, in the ground. I have a Jocasta berry in the ground. And then I have two goji berries. And then an elderberry I planted a couple years ago. And then a mulberry bush outside. And everything except for the elderberry I've planted within the past 8 weeks, probably. And keep in mind, it's June 4th. It's June 4th. And if you would have asked me beginning of the year, is that on your set a New Year's resolution? Is that on your bucket list for this year? I've been like, no, it's just something I kind of fell into. And but I kind of took that mentality into vacation where I wanted to try to do some stuff that I hadn't done before. And so I wasn't as intentional as I wanted to be about being outside more on vacation, but I was more intentional about it, and I did do more of it than I have done in the past. Just not where I wanted to be. And vacation was it was good, and it had ups and downs. Wish it could have all been up, but energetic kids, long car rides, other stuff. Just you know. But when I was there, I had a conversation with a buddy of mine. Well, since we were little kids, buddies, friend, brother, guy you do anything for, Carl over glass for. That level of friend. Um, and obviously, I live in Ohio. He lives in Florida. We see each other once a year. But I invited him to ride to the airport with me on Thursday, and so we did, back and forth. And as we were coming back, he was telling me some stories about his daughters and our other friend. And if you know, you know, type of situation. But it was just, he'd given his one daughter what I would consider to be a life-changing opportunity. And she had taken the opportunity. And then at some point she decided that she wanted to go back. So she was in bondage. My buddy gave her the opportunity to come out of bondage. She was out of bondage for a while and chose to go back into bondage. And when he told me that story, I was like, oh, okay, you know. He's telling me about his other daughter, and he's telling me about our other friend, and it just kind of, in that moment, it just kind of washed over me. Well, tonight I'm at work doing my thing, and all of this hits me like a ton of bricks. And I just start thinking about the gravity of these individuals' situation. And there was a choice made years ago that affected my buddy and his family. And it's going to be another if you know, you know thing. And let's just say choices were made, and some resulted in good situations, others resulted in not great situations. And I just thought about it, and it kind of hit me. I'm like, is this something that could or can happen to me? And I think, yes, it could. And it's amazing. Every time I go on vacation, God gives me a song. I think of years ago, the song was Maverick City's Man of Your Word. And then I'm trying to think of what it was. I think maybe one year it was is it Thomas Rhett's? Um, I'm trying to think of the song. Where he's talking about the kids dancing on the dirt floor. Can't think of what it is. But yeah. And then I think last year it was Brandon Link and Chandler Moore's Fear Is Not My Future. Or maybe that was the year before. Maybe last year was Desperate and by Jamie McDonald. And I think this year was just so obvious. It was a song that was kind of like I was thinking about sort of peripherally or sort of like on the side, but it really wasn't in my view. And then we get there and all of this discussions happen and talks happen, and that hits me in the face. It's Left It in the River by Jamie McDonald. And I think this is off the same album. Desperate was the first single, and it's like, oh God, I'm desperate, down on my knees. Come through for me. And this one is, I have all this baggage, and I'm looking for freedom. And it's something that's eluded me. And so I met God on the bank of the river. And he told me there's something better. And so I left my guilt and I left my shame and I left it in the river. And friends, bondage is something that I've had in my mind for 3 or 4 years. We had an evangelist come to our church. Maybe it has been 3 years ago. He came and he was talking about the Egyptians and how they were in bondage, and Moses came and was taking them out of bondage. And even after God came through for them time after time, there they are in the desert, and they're like, you brought us out here to die. We would have been better back in Egypt. And about how these Israelites had been freed, but they wanted to be in bondage. And I'm just thinking about how many of us are in bondage and we don't realize we're in bondage. We're just we're so in love with our fear. We're so in love with our anxiety. We're so in love with our inadequacy, with our guilt, with our pain, with our shame, with our yesterday. That we let this bondage control us. And so I went to work tonight and was going to listen to a show, and I started listening to this show, and I'm, doing my thing. And then I hear, this song is like in my head. And I'm like, I need to listen to this song now. So I turn off my podcast and I turn on the song Left It in the River by Jimmy McDonald, and it just hits me like a ton of bricks. And I don't listen to songs or stuff on like half volume. It's like all the way up to 11. Or if anybody tried to talk to me, I'd be like, what do you, And I'm turning on my cleaning machine so it's making a sound. And then I just started, so it's on and it's loud, and I'm like belting out this song. And everything is hitting me. And I poured it out. I poured it out and I prayed for everyone. I prayed for my buddy. I prayed for his daughters. I prayed for our friend. I prayed for everybody I could think of. And as the song is blurring, I'm like, God, I pray for the freedom from bondage for all of these people. We're so in love with our bondage that we go to therapy. And we let therapists disciple us. I was thinking about it. Why do we know the name of Edwards and Wesley and Whitfield and Spurgeon and Edward? Did I probably already mention Edwards? And the apostles, Polycarp, St. Nicholas, the actual St. Nicholas, not Santa Claus, St. Patrick, the actual St. Patrick, not the one, not the day guy, not the green beer and all that. Why do we know these names? And then why do we know names like Washington and Adams and Jefferson, Hamilton, Adams, Monroe, Rush? Talking about Benjamin Rush, by the way. Because they were bold. They weren't people pleasers. They were desperately looking for God's will. Desperately searching for God's will. I think that's what happened in the upper room when Jesus came back. I think before Jesus died, the apostles, they got half of it. But they were still people pleasers. And then after Jesus came back and they saw him, it clicked. And they were like, okay now. And that's why they changed the world. All the names you know were God pleasers. And that's why they know, and that's why you know their name. You don't know the name of the people pleasers. You know the name of the God pleasers. They're the one that changed the world. The founders, Polycarp, St. Nicholas, St. Patrick's, Spurgeon, Whitfield, Wesley. Not afraid of, they moved out of bondage. Could you imagine the American Revolution, what happened then? And then what those poor people had to go through, and then what happened to them in the end? There's a reason in the Declaration of Independence it says we pledge our fortune and our sacred honor. And I'm missing like the whole thing of it. But it mentions they sacrificed their fortune. These were wealthy people. There was nothing to gain by them sacrificing their fortune. But what they did is all of these people left their bondage in the river. I don't know how God's going to do it, but God is going to leave my weight, my gut, my excess baggage in the river. That's what I got after I prayed for Olive. all of these people. He said, Marshall, you're going to leave your weight in the river. I don't know how. I don't know when. But I'm ready. Anyway, thanks for being here. Appreciate all of you. Let me know what you think. God bless. I'll see you next time. Bye.